Hello and welcome. My name is Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. So this may be one of my most requested videos of all time. Today we're going to compare copy paper to sublimation paper and see if copy paper works instead. So copy paper would be a cheaper alternative. So what are the papers I'm going to compare? So I'm going to use regular copy paper. Like I get this copy paper at Sam's Club in bulk, cheap copy paper. Now, it does say on the back of the package that it can be used in laser printers. That means it can withstand the heat that I'm about to apply to it in order to press the sublimation. So you do want something that can withstand the heat, not burn or singe or whatever. So I wouldn't get like something that doesn't say it's not rated for laser printers or laser copiers, either way. And then I'm going to compare it to two other sublimation papers, just so we can do like a comparison of 3 different things on one shirt to see what the differences are. So let's take a look at all the papers that I'm going to compare. So I'm comparing regular copy paper to both Hippo sublimation paper as well as A-Sub sublimation paper in my Epson EcoTank printer that I've converted for sublimation. So I have Hippo sublimation ink installed, and I'm going to print the same print on all 3 of these papers, and then we'll come back and take a look. The top is copy paper. The middle is Hippo sublimation paper, and the bottom is A-Sub sublimation paper. So you can see that this bottom one does say A-Sub. This middle one is pink on the back, which is Hippo sublimation paper. And this top one, you might be able to tell that it's pretty thin, which means it's copy paper. So now let's take a look at putting all 3 on the same shirt. So I have a 95% polyester shirt, and I've already pre-pressed it in my heat press. And now I'm just lint rolling the entire thing to remove any lint or fibers from the fabric. So now I have my 3 designs laid out. The top is copy paper, the middle is the Hippo sublimation paper, and the bottom is A-Sub sublimation paper. I went ahead and used heat tape to tape everything into place. And then I'm going to add protective paper on the inside as well as the top and heat press these all at the same time and temperature to my shirt. We'll come back and we'll look at the results. Copy paper bled way more than the other 2. So the copy paper version got onto that protective paper that I put onto my heat press. That means if I did not put the paper on top, I would have had ink on the top of my heat press. I always use protective paper on top regardless, but a lot of times I reuse my sheets if no ink gets on them, and in this case I would not have been able to if I had used just copy paper. So now let's peel back and reveal each one of the designs. So now let's take a look first at the amount of ink that transferred. So you can tell that there's more ink left on my copy paper than the other 2 papers. That means that more of the ink transferred out of the Hippo and the A-Sub paper and onto my surface, which is a good thing. So the more ink on my shirt, the brighter the image is going to be and the longer lasting it will be, because more ink got into those fibers and bonded. So here's a look at each of those up close. So I can see a little bit of a difference in person. So especially maybe if you look at this orange, the E on the copy paper version is lighter than the E on the Hippo as well as the A-Sub. Now for Hippo and A-Sub, I really can't tell the difference, so I would say whichever one's on sale there. But I did want to compare 2 just so you could see 2 different brands on the same shirt together. But the copy paper is lighter, especially on some of the colors. Like I said, the oranges, the pinks, the darker purples. I would say the darker colors, the copy paper gets lighter. So if you're having trouble with your colors and you don't feel like they're popping off of your surface, it may be because you're using copy paper instead of sublimation paper. So here's a closer look in case you could not tell. This one is the copy paper. This one is the Hippo sublimation paper. So hopefully you can tell that the copy paper is significantly lighter than the Hippo sublimation paper. Okay, so now that you've seen the evidence and the experiment, you can make your own decision. So obviously the copy paper, 2 things. First of all, it bled more during the heating process, which means you're going to have to use more paper to protect your surface, which kind of costs more, which might make it just as expensive as a sublimation paper. So not sure there if I'm using more protective paper if I'm willing to do that. So like for me, it's kind of a no. And then the other thing I don't like about it is that not as much ink transferred out. So if I'm going to print the ink onto the paper, I want as much of that ink as possible to go onto my shirt. I don't want it left on the paper. I don't want to throw it in the trash. So I want all of that ink, or as much as possible, to transfer over into the shirt and become part of the fabric and the fibers, if that makes sense. Now this shirt was pressed at the same time, and each print was printed using the same settings on my Sublimation printer. So everything else was equal and the same, except for the paper I used in each case. So now you can see for yourself, copy paper versus sublimation paper, and which one might be right for your projects. So now, if you have any questions, drop down in the comment section, ask away. If you liked this video, if it helped you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos like this one every week, and trust me, you don't want to miss a single one. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.